talk about the first one. And that is the most important one. We did mention that earlier. And for the people that don't have any properties or looking to get in and be inspired, I know that's part of your audience, Dave.
Yeah.
Let's let's go over those barriers, right? So this is actually my topic of conversation I really enjoy talking about, because that after you get your first deal, it's the second part's kind of tough, where you're trying to get like from 2 to 5, and then from there's other challenges. But I think that first one is where a lot of people get stuck on. People don't make that first leap. 50% of people don't even make it to the first one. So that's 50% of the battle. So what components really, let's break down fear.
Mm-hmm.
When people think about not taking action on something, it's usually because of fear. That's a huge driver. And people that are saying, well, I don't have money, I don't have all this. No, you can make it work. I know you can. But fear has two components to it. Let's really break it down. One is uncertainty of the future. That's one part. And the second part is the confidence in your own skills, knowledge, abilities. Those are the two concepts.
Welcome to the Hassle-Free RE Podcast, a real estate podcast where we bring you stories, education, and tips for investors and real estate enthusiasts. If you're interested in investing in real estate or just want to keep a pulse on what's happening in the market, then this podcast is for you. Thanks so much for listening and tuning in. If you enjoy our show, please make sure to subscribe and give us a 5-star review. We'd greatly appreciate it.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Hassle-Free RE Podcast. I am your host, Dave Menapace, and today I am joined here by Patryk Swietek. So Patryk is actually the founder of STR Nation, a really popular short-term rental Facebook group, but he's also an investor. He does coaching and consulting. He's a co-host. He's started several different businesses over his lifetime, and overall, he's an amazing resource for anyone looking to learn more or scale their portfolios within the short-term rental space. So I'm super excited to have Patryk on today's show. And so, without further ado, Patryk, why don't you introduce yourself, and we'll start from the beginning and bring everyone current.
Awesome. Yeah, no, thanks for having me, Dave. Just so for people that don't know our dynamic, Dave has stumbled upon my Facebook group, and while drinking his coffee in the morning, has been commenting. And over time, I realized, maybe I should talk to this guy. And we chit-chatted and we kicked it off, and we had a good chemistry. So I'm like, I kind of like this guy. So and now we're here. So, thank you for that, Dave. And I'm really excited to just, chit chat with, your audience and everything that you're doing. Great things. So for my story, started when I was 14, and most 14-year-olds are picking their boogers and, pretty much just trying to figure out, how to talk to girls, while I was, on the internet trying to make as much money as possible and building businesses. Age 14, I started a tech company that helped people provide game server space for them all over the world. And I made around $40,000 a year until I was the age of 18. Sold that company. Made almost as much as drug dealers in my high school, which was, as the only difference was I wasn't buying BMWs to roll into school because I really didn't care. And I just really like businesses. That's when I really realized I just love being a leader. I love building people up, and that's just my thing. And since then, I've built numerous businesses, and I thought making a business was easy. I was like, oh man, got it right the first try. Talk about beginner's luck.
Nailed it.
The next few businesses weren't as easy. I couldn't make a tech company that, I tried multiple apps, and I've tried a dating app. I've created crazy things one thing did kick off. I did create Menu 3 in college, which is an augmented reality menu application. And we raised money for it. And it was very high tech product. It was augmented reality. So it's 3D menus. We basically created the 3D infrastructure to food. And you could see exactly what the food looks like and all that kind of stuff. Long story short, didn't pan out, but we did raise money. We did get on ABC News. We did get traction. We got user base, all that kind of stuff. So fast forward, I realized, you know what? I don't want to deal with digital stuff. I want to deal with something on the other end of the spectrum. And just like any extremity, I went to the extreme side of real estate. I own something physical, and I worked for a real estate company. And the real estate company I was working as a product manager in LA. That's when I moved to LA. I was born in Chicago. And that started my journey into Airbnbs, because that company was Avance. I was a product manager for them. It was at 200 properties, and we scaled it to 1,000 plus properties. And I was building all of the tech surrounding the scale of that company. And so my background is very heavy marketing and tech, as you can tell.
Right.
And going with that, I didn't want to be in the VC space. I realized with this company, it was too much. Let's just go into the next runway. How much more time do we have until the next runway? How all this pressure from these big companies competing against some of the smartest people in the world. I was just over it. I wanted to compete against people that were not that smart. And, if I have just a little bit above medium IQ, I can make money in real estate. And it's just like, wow, that threshold is so much lower. And I realized that I could do it. And so laid off from that job eventually because of COVID and, analysis paralysis. By September 2022 or 2021, September 2021, I bought my first property. And sight unseen, Smoky Mountains, Tennessee, turnkey property, my best investment to this day, in my opinion, because it was the one that got me into real estate. It doesn't matter how much money it makes, but it made good money.
Right.
And from there, January of this year, 2022, quit my job and became a full-time real estate investor. Really doesn't take much when you're eating, ramen and canned beans. Yeah, it really doesn't take much for a 25-year-old to quit their job, right? I mean, there's not really much of an expense there. So it wasn't a crazy feat, but I made it happen because I realized I'm not as happy working for somebody else as I am for myself.
Yeah.
And that brought the second thing is I quit my job. Great. But guess what? I feel like I'm in this alone. Like, yes, I have friends on Facebook, but there's nobody that does meetups in our area on short-term rentals and Airbnbs. So I naturally just filled that gap. That's what every entrepreneur does, right?
Right.
And, we put on our first event and had 10 people show up, and it was great. It was awesome. And it was a community of some sorts.
Yeah.
We started a Facebook group. We had maybe 15 people in there, 5 of them not even being in California. So that's kind of what it started it all. And it's scaled to what it is now today. I think we're at like 2,300 people or something like that.
At least, yeah.
But I don't even care about the numbers anymore. I just care about the community aspect of how close people are. And that's why I really strike a lot of engagement in it. However, that over time, now fast forward to today, we put on a conference. We have a bunch of different things going on. I have 5 properties under my belt. I own all of them. I'm just now getting into co-hosting. I realized, wow, I'm teaching so many people how to do this thing for free. And you know what? I probably should either A, get paid for doing that, or B, manage the properties for other people. And it's funny. I always tell people I'm the worst salesman, because I will go into interaction and will honestly tell you, hey, and I do this to this day. hey, I really think you can self-manage this. I had somebody with, this happened literally like this week. Somebody with 21 properties came up to me and said, hey, I'm looking for somebody to help me with co-hosting. And a lot of amazing properties on there. And I asked him, like, why do you even need me? And he's like, well, it's so much work. Like I have too much on my plate right now, blah, blah, blah. I was like, why don't you just hire a virtual assistant and just build your company out? I didn't get the business. I'm the worst salesman, but at the same time, I helped somebody out. And he told me, he said, you know what, like later down the road, he's thinking about doing hotels and other cool deals. Maybe down the road, he brings me on something, who knows? But I don't expect it. It is what it is. And that's my story. So that's a long-winded story, but that's what it is.
Well, I think that's awesome. It is funny. Yeah. I sat down for coffee with a fellow real estate agent in the area. This was like 2 weeks ago, and he asked for my story, and that coffee ended up taking 3.5 hours. And we were like, it's 2 PM, so I'm gonna just go. I think I'm gonna go now. Yeah. But so you weren't. What I'm getting at is you weren't too long-winded. I think that was pretty good. So. Awesome. What I would love to do, and what I always think is really interesting, especially for folks like you or I, who at this point, either owned or managed, like we're beyond the first property, right? Like we're looking much deeper into the future. So it's easy for people like me and others to kind of glance over, sort of like, yeah, got the first property on, onto the next one. Let's go back to that very first property for a second. Mm-hmm. And why don't we talk about, I don't really like getting too far into the numbers. What I'd rather talk about is, what was it like for you, your first time as you're starting to get bookings and like coordinate cleaners, or realize, oh crap, we actually need a third set of sheets, like all the different little things that go into managing a property. Mm-hmm. What was that like for you? And what kind of business decisions did you make to make it easier for yourself to manage that so you could move on?
Right. Yeah. And I like the fact that you're, really bringing this down to the first one. Let's talk about the first one. And that is the most important one. We did mention that earlier. And for the people that don't have any properties or looking to get in and be inspired, I know that's part of your audience, Dave.
Yeah.
Let's go over those barriers, right? So this is actually my topic of conversation I really enjoy talking about, because that after you get your first deal, it's, the second part's kind of tough, where you're trying to get like from 2 to 5, and then from there's other challenges. But I think that first one is where a lot of people get stuck on. People don't make that first leap. 50% of people don't even make it to the first one. So that's 50% of the battle. So what components really, let's break down fear. Mm-hmm. When people think about not taking action on something, it's usually because of fear. That's a huge driver. And people that are saying, well, I don't have money, I don't have all this. No, you can make it work. I know you can. But fear has 2 components to it. Let's really break it down. One is uncertainty of the future. That's one part. And the second part is the confidence in your own skills, knowledge, abilities. Mm-hmm. Those are the 2 concepts. So the first one, the uncertainty. How do you present certainty for people that are uncertain about what's going to happen with this asset? How are people going to clean it? How are blah, blah, blah? How, what if this happens? What if that? All these questions. Those are the uncertainty. I don't know. Well, let me tell you. Well, this is how, and uncertainty also could be with the economy, with the market, with what's going on, and so that comes down to education, and that comes down to other people that are doing it. So you listening to this podcast is a perfect example of you breaking down those mental barriers of what's possible and what's not. So I've done it, and I'm 25. So now you can't use the excuse that I'm too young.
Right.
And if you say you're 18, great. There are 17-year-olds that are buying assets, and I know them. So I can definitely give you their information. You can contact them and talk to them, because it's one of those things. The certainty is there. People have done it. Hundreds of people have done it, and it works. and it makes sense. And people do it in this economy. And then you understand what's the economy landscape, what's all that. You really dive in. So it's knowledge. It's a lot of knowledge. Now it goes down to the second part, which is the skills that you have to be able to manage this. Well, I don't have the skill set. I don't know what to do in this situation, blah, blah, blah. That comes around more so on the education piece.
Right.
So the first one's more community. Second one's education. So education is understanding, okay, well, let me get my bachelor's degree in Airbnb hosting. So listening in on more tactical information, on pricing strategies, on, what amenities you should have in your home, what the design should be, all these kind of things, right? And then you build that. And then once you have both of those concepts, then fear is eliminated, right?
Right.
So that's usually the topic of conversation. Now, let's go into those mental roadblocks that people really have when they're starting out. And I've had this myself. So story time. My mental barriers were, I'm too young. I can't afford anything in Los Angeles, and I can't invest out of state. Because when I grew up, I had this one real estate investor I always looked up to, and he told me, he developed some of the biggest homes in Chicago, like the Pritzker family. I don't know if anybody knows the Pritzker family. Huge, they're from Hyatt. They started Hyatt. Okay. So wow. Huge family, huge family. So this guy built houses for the Pritzker family. And it's like crazy because JB Pritzker, who he built the house for, is the governor of Illinois. I don't know if he still is, but that's like a huge deal. So he's really well connected. And he told me, you'd be the stupidest person ever to invest out of state. Like always locally. You have no control over out of state. And I always had that belief in my head. And the moment I saw other people investing out of state and actually making money and doing sight unseen and doing all this stuff, I'm like, wow, it's possible. Broke that barrier. Second one, too young. I saw a 20-year-old doing it. BS. You can do it. Whatever excuse you have, whatever limitation, you can work through that. So now how can you really dive into your own limitations and your own beliefs? So really, if you break down on a piece of paper, for your audience members, take out your freaking phone, take out a piece of paper, do this right now. So take out your phone, take out a piece of paper in the notes, write this stuff down. What beliefs do you have? Or not even beliefs, what excuses or what reasons do you have? They're excuses, but reasons, let's just say reasons that you have for not taking action in buying that first property. List them down. And those could be too young, not enough money, not whatever, like all those stuff. Second part is going to be really about finding that those things are not facts. That's the first thing you got to realize. Those things are not facts. Those are beliefs. Big difference. Belief means something that you think that is a fact. A fact is actual factual information. And so now let's get the facts. Now all those different key concepts, go find what somebody could say on the other side of that argument. Well, you don't have enough money. Well, you can find the money. Well,
absolutely can.
Young. Well, you can what does that mean? It's like what's the why? Oh, people won't take me seriously. Okay, well, what if people do take you seriously? It's like you question all of those beliefs. Are those really facts? Now you can unravel those things and make them more of your new belief system. Now adopt your new belief system based on what you find out on the internet and what you find on YouTube and what you find through research. And then you realize, crap, well, I don't have enough access to money. For my four properties that I bought after my first one, those were all other people's money. I didn't have any more money. I quit my job. I didn't have money. The zero money done. And the first one, I had a $40,000 a year salary. So maybe somebody has a lower salary. There's always a way. I know people with in the military, $1,000 a month or $2,000 a month. I don't even know. And buying stuff on creative finance, there's a way. You just haven't
always
found
a
it.
way.
You know what I mean? So do that and those limiting beliefs and all that. And honestly, people are like, why are you focusing so much on mindset and all this stuff? Like, let's get to the meat of the bone. Like, I want to find out about how to buy that property and how to get it under contract, all that stuff. Great, you can, but guess what? You're never going to do that if your mindset's not right and you don't have a plan. So that goes to the next step. The first step is the mindset, limitations, all that. Second step is a plan. You're not going to execute if you don't have a plan. Like, trust me, if you don't have something concrete down for like going to the gym, you're not going to know what to do at the gym. What do I do at the gym? It's too much of a like too much thinking to go into like, oh, I need to go to the gym. I need to think about what I should figure out and what I should do. I don't even know. When you put a plan together, you know exactly what you're going to do in that 1 hour, 30 minutes, whatever it is. So once you put a plan and you know exactly what days you're going to go and you know all this stuff. So same goes with real estate. What is your plan? What can you afford? Which areas are you looking at? Right. And then like write it down. Like first determine an area. And it's like, what are the key performance indicators that you're looking for? Like all this stuff, like you put it down in a plan. I promise you, you're going to start now once you have that plan and those goals, don't just have the goals, have the actions that you have to take to make those goals happen. So for example, being in the gym every day or 10 minutes a day, 15 minutes a day. And that could go for you in the sense that take 15 minutes a day to find properties. Whatever you got to do, you have a plan, put it together. And the third thing is just execute. It's simple. It really is just that. There's no secret sauce. There's no nothing. It's you're not doing the things you should be doing. That's it. It's so easy. And it's funny because you have to go through 100 podcasts to just at the end of the day, you realize, wow, you could have just
right.
It's just so frustrating. I see people just spend so much time just learning and going to conferences, and I see the same faces every time at these conferences, these meetups, these events. And I have 5 properties since I met them at 0 when we met together, and they're still at 0.
Well,
like,
and I think one thing to add to what you're saying, and then I want to share just like 2 minutes on my journey, because it's like this was my formula. I followed the same exact thing that you outlined here. And the other thing is also that like the thing that holds you accountable to doing these steps is having a really strong reason why you want to do this sort of stuff, right? So what happened for me was I was, growing in my career as a healthcare professional. By all accounts, like I made it. I was crushing it. I was doing really, really well. But I was super unhappy, and COVID jacked up my working situation. And I didn't get laid off, luckily. In fact, it was the opposite. I was able to find an opportunity at a related company and continue to grow within my career. But I was super unhappy, and I realized that there's way too much in my life that I don't have control over, right? So my why was that I needed to start gaining a lot more control so I could have security for me and my wife and my kids. And so that helped put me into the right mindset. The education that I did is I started saying like at this point in my career, people think of me as an expert in financing. I have a finance degree in college. It has nothing to do with the type of financing I do now, right? But to what you were saying, like on the execution front, I said to myself, if I could do one task a day, every single day, no days off, but one task. It could be simple. It could be printing a form and keeping it on the printer. So tomorrow I sign that form, whatever it is. But if I do one task a day, at the end of the year, I will have done 365 tasks, and I'll be that much closer to achieving my goal. Now that it's been 2.5 years, we're up in like the 900 tasks thing, because I still do this even on my days off. I still at least one thing a day towards achieving my goals. And what ends up happening is you start calling lenders, you start actually buying properties, right? You start working with partners. Like, of course, at this point, I've bought houses and I've even refinanced houses into the name of partners who then become the bank for us. Like, we've done all sorts of stuff, but if you're not actually going to start like taking action and just doing some small baby steps, but holding yourself accountable, like your why has to be strong enough so that every single day you're holding yourself accountable to doing at least one thing, and you don't have to overthink it. But you do that enough, That's how we bird, 6 or 7 houses last year. That's how we ended up buying our second short-term rental. And that's how now all of a sudden we've scaled our co-hosting business to be five properties now. And then we have several more under contract that we're bringing on. And it's like every week I get a new call for a new co-hosting thing. And it's just that like continuous action and never slowing down and never looking back. And don't be scared to do 2 actions in a day.
Yeah, I like that. It's the core principle that we're going to is just take action. I mean, but then, people like me and you, Dave, wouldn't be in business if there weren't those stragglers that just don't take action. God,
Right.
it's just like how many ways can we tell you guys to take action? How many inspiring stories do we have to tell you? How many, how many different ways is there to say it, And it's
Right.
like you see the Gary V's of the world. And for the people that don't know, Gary Vee is a huge guy in pop culture that influences marketing and whatnot. And he always says the same message over and over again. And people ask him, like, I keep seeing your content, you're just repurposing the same content. And he's like, do you not get it? It's the same thing, but said different ways because it's the truth. It's what you should be doing, but you decide not to do it.
Yeah, that's exactly
It's
it.
like yeah. But at the end of the day, exactly what you said, which is amazing add-on that I totally glossed over, is you're not gonna we can't make the horse drink the water, but the horse needs to have a reason to drink the water. I feel like to live is a really good reason to have to drink the water. But family is a very powerful motivator. Whatever it is. I mean, I don't have a family. I'm still motivated to do things. And I'm not motivated by Lamborghinis or Ferraris or anything like that. I could have easily taken a $200,000 job a year and probably gotten myself a nice car. But I don't. I drive a Honda Civic and I love it to death. And it gets me from point A to point B, and I'm just continuously investing in real estate because
Yeah,
I love this. Like,
I
it's
do.
fun, but
Yeah, I have an 2007 Toyota Sequoia. So I hear you,
oh,
man. That's
2012, baby. I'm got a newer car than you. Look at you. No, but I love
so
my Toyota.
so let me ask you, from and I love asking people this question. There's 2 questions I'm gonna ask, but I'll ask the first one. Here we go. What were some of the challenges that you faced once you've bought the property and you're running it as a short-term rental? What are some of the challenges that you faced, or even just in the last year in general, whatever you want to talk about? What are some of the challenges that you faced that you just did not expect that you've had to work through more recently?
Yeah. Well, one that comes to mind right away, and I've made videos about this. Can I swear on this
Yeah.
podcast?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So,
Go for it.
I promise I'll keep it light, but it's called the bullshit. Like, it's called it.
There's a lot of
Pretty much,
bullshit.
there's this thing. It's called the it's. I lost my train of thought. What was the question one more time?
Yeah, no, it's totally cool. So some of the challenges that you faced over the last year that you just did not have on your
Got it.
radar.
Bullshit tolerance. That's what it is.
Mm,
It's the bullshit tolerance. I didn't realize how much bullshit comes with, like, I've ran tech companies. I've dealt with crazy, highly intelligent people as competitors and under me. I was the dumbest one in the room for sure compared to the people that I was around. My co-founder was like 150 plus IQ probably. So smart. Anyways, what I realized in short-term rentals is you're dealing with guests, and it's a very emotional experience. And I come from a very logical world, so I was not expecting that, where there's a lot of emotions involved, and sometimes it's good to turn off the logic and to really connect and be empathetic. And I think that's what I realized, as well as how many problems you got to solve every single day. Like, I think it's funny. It's funny because things will unfaze me these days. I hear somebody complaining about their life. I'm like, you don't even know. You don't even know. You don't even, I had a guy pissing off the roof yesterday. You don't even know the kinds of issues I got to deal with. You know what I mean? Like, you're like, you're running like a daycare camp sometimes. There's stuff going wrong every day. And it's like,
Yeah.
you know, the lock doesn't work. The batteries needs to be changed. The water heater's off. The gas company turned something off. There's like, I just had to cancel 2 bookings that were worth, you know, $3,000 to $5,000 because of incompetencies around what we're surrounded. But guess what? In the beginning, I didn't realize that. So I was freaking out at every issue that came up. I was, my perfectionist in me was just like, I need to make sure everything's perfect. All that. I'm on phase now. I don't blink an eye. I don't blink an eye. You know,
you get calloused after a while.
Yeah. Hey, hot tub stops working. Send my guy out there to check on the hot tub. There's a pair of undies in the filtration system. It's just another day at the job, Dave. It's just another day at the job. You
everyone
know?
everyone knows that skin only is best in a hot tub.
Everyone knows. And if you guys don't know this and you guys have a hot tub on your property, I go back to my properties. I don't use the hot tubs. There's a reason I don't use the hot tubs. Unless it's cleaned 5 times over, I still don't use
fresh water.
Yes, yes, fresh water. And that's why there's illegalities around having cameras in hot tubs. But that's a whole nother story.
Yep.
Regardless, number one is there's a lot of stuff that happened throughout the time, and that shouldn't deter you because it will make you so much of a better problem solver. You'll become the best problem solver in the world by dealing with real estate alone, but more specifically short-term rentals, Airbnbs.
Well, and in addition to that, what you end up finding is over seasons or years, the best operators, or if you want to really grow out of that first property and start doing things like Patryk has done, you start getting really good at putting systems around when things go wrong, right? That's how all of a sudden when bullshit arises, it's not constant BS every single time that happens, because then there's a path forward. So like people like Patryk, myself, and several others in our circles are really good at teaching people how to put these systems in place. But you know, don't be scared of your first short-term rental. Just know that there are ways to make it so it becomes easier. And these are just they're normal growing pains. But if you hire someone like Patryk to kind of coach you through them, it at least helps you not feel the pain as bad as we have when learning things the first time. And then like, I know we haven't gotten into it a ton, but like, you know, when you renovate properties, that's a whole nother level of BS that rears its head.
Oh my God. It's a whole nother layer. And it's funny because I honestly do the trifecta of the shittiest position to be in for somebody that doesn't want stress, because I take a rehab property, I fully renovate it. It's a gut rehab. Fully renovated, add furniture, add all the little things. And then I do the real estate stuff around it in the market and all that. The real estate alone is already tough. The rehabbing is more really pain, and then dealing with guests on top of that. And it's like those rehab stuff comes back to you. Like you forget to plug something in, or you do something wrong, or you do the tile wrong and something chips off. It's not like you flip the property, you're done with it. It's like you have to deal with it now. Not even as a long-term rental, as a short-term rental, you know?
Right. Yeah, it's a thing. It is absolutely a thing.
But Dave, you were saying about the whole processes and systems. I think another thing, there are a lot that help automate, but I think even more so, what people should really think about is if you're planning on scaling this into a business, which you should, because it is a business, which we'll get to later. But you should always have written down exactly like how you respond to certain things. Like, because you'll see there's a trend for certain things. And that's why I always tell people, if like go up to somebody like me or you, Dave, for questions on how to handle something. And that's why you shouldn't freak out about stuff, because we've probably dealt with something that's similar and we know how to approach it. There's always an approach. And there's always a refund of some sort, but there's certain things you don't tolerate as refunds. And all these questions get answered over time. Those are the things you learn on the job kind of deal.
Yeah.
But you can document that stuff. So then later on, when you hire somebody,
that's when we stop working in the company and we start working on it.
Exactly. And I do want to transition. I don't know if you had something else to say.
I was just going to say, what are some of the biggest like successes or some of your proudest moments over the last year that you've got to enjoy?
Oh, well, I thought we were going to answer the second part of the question.
Or that was, oh shoot. Yeah,
I only did one. The second one is just making it into a business.
Yeah.
So let's go to the second one. The next question you had.
Yeah.
Success.
Like what are some of the things that you're most proud of, over the last year that, whether you expected it or didn't expect it, but what are some of the things that really kind of keep you in this industry right now that you really enjoy?
Good question. And this is part of my why. So you got to figure out your why for the people listening. But part of the reason for me is because this is such an emotional business. And so this is the concept. What do you think, Dave, the opposite of love and happiness is? Happiness, excitement.
Probably like hatred and being miserable, right? That'd be the opposite.
Wrong. The opposite is lack of emotion.
Okay.
Meaning, if somebody hates you, they still give a shit about you.
Yeah.
What I'm saying, and this happens in marriage and all sorts of other things, which I'm not married, but when your wife is really passionately hates you in that moment, just know that's very close to love. It's very close. It's just, you got to switch it a little bit, there's emotions. You can work with that.
Right.
So when it comes to guests being very emotional about their stay and hating it and getting angry and all these crazy things you have to deal with, and they're yelling at you and they want to get refunds, just know it's because they care. So you're just a little twitch away from making their stay something they'll never forget. So knowing that concept, I read this book called Complaint is a Gift, and it outlines how complaints should be taken in a different light. And so when a guest complains to me, I'm like, game on. I love this. Right. And, that shows that they really, the ones that don't complain, don't say anything, and they just give you a 2-star review at the end of the stay. And you're like,
the worst.
Man, you didn't even tell me anything.
Yeah.
But you're just trying to screw me at this point.
Yeah.
But the ones that really care, they're going to tell you, and they just want you to do the best they can. So going back to your question, I think the guest experience is the best. Mm-hmm. Providing this amazing experience. Keep this in mind in the perspective of an average consumer of travel indulgences. We're in good circles, and then maybe you have a little bit more of people vacationing, but most people take 1 to 2 vacations a year.
Right.
And so they're spending all their savings for this one trip, potentially, to be there at your place. And sometimes it's crazy. Like, I'll get like a really low booking for like $100 a night. I'm like, this usually gets like 400, 500. And it's a honeymoon. And I'm like, really? You would honeymoon there? What? But some people and that's probably everything to them. Right. That is probably like a lot. And so there's a lot on the line. And so I need to make sure that they have the best experience possible, because that honeymoon is a special time, or that just amplifies it. But guests experience, and I won't tell you, I think I've had so many times where people have been very angry at me in the beginning. There's some people you have to be God to save them. I get it. I
even
get
then
this.
you don't have a prayer.
Even though, I shit you not, this happened to my friend. Didn't happen to me, thank God. And he got a 4-star review. And he just called up the person and said, look, I did everything I just wanted to just get some feedback from you. I totally understand. Why was it a 4-star review? You were raving about us. There's no negative thing in the comment. And she quite literally said, it wasn't 5 stars because you're not God. And he's like, you know what? I am not God. And she's like, well, there you go. Bye-bye. But thank you so much.
Yeah.
Meaning there's some people you just can't impress enough or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's funny, but the people that were really angry, some of those people made the best reviews, the best 5-star reviews I've ever gotten.
Yeah.
The best. Like the people that were like cussing me out, and I decided to give them a call because they were cussing me out on the platform, and give them a call. It's a lot harder to cuss somebody when on the phone.
Yeah. Yes.
And they got a little angry. They got a little attitude, and I kill them with kindness.
Yeah.
And they thanked me, and they said, I'm going to come back next year. Hopefully they will, but just shows.
That's like a good, yeah. So we're going to do a little 2-minute clinic for people on how to save a review. That's how, and I've done it. I've done it several times. You know what I mean? Where it's like, I know something really crappy is happening at the house that is it's always is like out of your control almost every time as an owner, but killing them with kindness and making yourself available to them, they're just so happy with that. Or like maybe you cover them like their pizza or their dinner, or give them a gift certificate to somewhere local there. They just get so psyched about that that they end up leaving a good review. And the other thing, a little pro tip here that works for me, is, my cleaners almost always get there right at checkout time, and they shoot me a quick text, and as long as it's not like a war zone in there, even if it's not clean, as long as it's not a war zone, I'll message the guest and I'll say, hey, thanks so much for leaving the house in good condition. I'll be sure to leave you a really good review. And no matter what happens, they always end up giving me a really good review. And then in the private message, they might be like, hey, this was a little off. That was a little off. Didn't want to leave you a bad review though. So just a couple pro tips for you.
I'm gonna one up you there, Dave.
Let's hear it.
And not one up you, but add on. I'll give you an add on, a little extra spice for the people that really want to secure that 5-star review. And I have these templates completely free on my Instagram bio, which you guys can check. But I have a bunch of stuff. But anyways, this thing is so key. I always set the expectation about the review system. Always. And it's automated. So I say, hey, thank you so much. Exactly what you say. You've had, you left the place in great condition. If I don't hear anything, no news is good news to me. So I don't cancel. I cancel that message if I need to, but I never can. I barely ever cancel it. And they leave the good place in good. Thank you so much for leaving the place in good conditions. I'm going to give you 5 stars. Hopefully it helps you out. Thank you so much. And then I say about reviews, and I have this whole spiel. If I fall set the expectation. If I fall between, in this scale under a 4.2, you can potentially get your listing terminated. People feel really bad. People don't want to give you a 4 star. That's lower than even a 4.2. And I set the expectation. I'm like, 5 stars is this, 4 stars, 3 stars, 2 stars, 1 star. And I say 1 star is like, it's literally uninhabitable. It's like burning down. 5 stars is like, look, it wasn't perfect, but I attended to all of your concerns. That's what I say. And so 4 stars is like, I did not attend to any of your concerns, which if I did not, then I deserve the 4 star anyways, which I will.
Right.
So, it's one of those things. Also, another tidbit for you guys, before the guest shows up, I like for the big reservations, the more money, the higher expectation. So Christmas, Thanksgiving, all those holidays, I take the time. It doesn't take much time. I take the time to call the guest. It's so powerful. Like 2-3 days before, call the guest. Hey, you have a reservation coming up for the Airbnb host, blah,
Right.
blah. You're not in trouble. Don't worry. I just wanted to give you a call and just to see like if everything's
Amazing.
good and you have any questions for me, I want to make sure your stay is as good as it gets. And so if they hear your voice, you building rapport already a little bit, just a little bit. And that rapport building has saved my ass, because Christmas or Thanksgiving is a very emotional time too. So it's like more
Right.
than on top of everything else. So people complain over the smallest things. If their expectations aren't set, and if they forget like bowls because I don't have any bowls, like stuff like that, like I want to make sure that they know that. And so when they get there and he complained, he's like complaining a good reason, like, look, like this thing, there's an issue with the stove, I can't cook, like big issue, blah blah blah. And because I made that call ahead of time, it was more like, hey, I'm asking a friend to come in and just solve this issue for me, as opposed to this a-hole doesn't care about me, he whatever. Like it's a very different conversation. He was like, hey man, like look, I get it, like can you maybe fix this? Totally fine. Get somebody out there, pay them the extra money because it's Christmas or Thanksgiving. It's one of those things. So tip it.
I love that. I love that. And as we're starting, so we're definitely going to have to do like a second episode of this soon.
Yeah.
What I love, I love how we really dove into the mindset side of things. I think so much on this podcast and on so many others, we are so tactical. But to Patrick's point, if your mindset isn't in the right place, it doesn't really matter all of the logistical things or education that you have. It has to be starting from the right spot. So what I would love today, and by the way, that template and all this content that Patrick's talking about, we're going to have all of that right into the show notes. So with that, Patrick, before we give everyone sort of like your contact info or how they can find you, any parting words for the guests, at least for this version of our podcast?
First part. This is the only thing I'll leave you guys with. I mean, exactly what Dave was saying. We can talk about all of these beautiful, cool little tactics and tricks that are going to spike your dopamine and make you all happy and jolly. And the thing is, it doesn't fucking matter.
That's right.
It really doesn't fucking matter, because at the end of the day, it's about taking action. And if you don't make that first leap and put yourself in a form of accountability, it's not going to happen. And what I advise, this is the best advice that you'll ever hear, and you probably heard it a million times. But you should 100% take action. And I'll give you a great action tip. Talk to these two people, a realtor and a lender. And Dave, I'm gonna throw you under the bus, because realtors and lenders are relentless. If they hear that there's a potential client, they're gonna bug the crap out of you. But guess what? You want that, because they're gonna hold you accountable.
It's true.
Wow. Absolutely. They're gonna be like, hey, Sam.
Yeah.
Where are you at? You disappeared. I thought you were trying to buy a short-term rental. What happened, man?
Boom.
If you want somebody to keep you accountable, I think that first step is great, because it's going to put you in some peer pressure for a good reason.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I'll leave it like that.
I love it. And how can people find you?
Yeah, people can find me on my Facebook group, STR Nation. So STR and a Nation, Space Nation. And you can also reach me on my Instagram, Patryk, Patryk, and then SWIETEK. If you get the first one, I'll probably pop up, because there's really not that many people spelled it that way, Patryk. So just do that. Message me any questions you have. I'm an open book. Like I said, I'm the worst salesman to a fault. So get all the free information you can for me. But if you want to hop on a call, I'm going to have to charge you a little bit because that's my time that I'm taking away from my other hobbies or other life things. Time is valuable. Okay. So,
Right.
but
That's
other than
right.
that, I'm willing to help you. If it's over text, totally free. Yeah.
Cool.
So,
Dude, that is awesome. This was an absolute clinic, and I really enjoyed our interview and our process of walking through everything, and I am excited. We'll definitely have to do a second part of this,
for
and
sure.
I really would encourage everyone that's listening to hop on that Facebook group, STR Nation.
Dave's on there.
I'm
Big
on
time.
there.
That's like
But
Dave's biggest
that
thing.
is how Patryk and I met, you know, and now Patryk and I get to collaborate and talk about things and bounce ideas off each other, and both of us get to help people in that group, and I get even more out of it just by hearing people's questions and seeing their responses to those. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of power in that.
Dave's a
and
competitor of mine. We're both co-hosts, different markets.
different markets. Yeah. Yeah.
No, it's honestly,
Yeah.
there's so much business, it doesn't really matter. So
We'll
I'm
meet
an
at
open book.
we'll meet at the Mississippi sometime.
The Mississippi. Yeah, in the middle. I'm on the West
Yeah.
Coast.
So, all right, Patryk. Well, thank you so
Cool.
much for your time. This was really wonderful. We'll definitely try and have you back again. And yeah, have a good
Cool,
one.
man. Awesome. You too. Take it easy. All right.
This podcast is brought to you by the 5-Star Co-Host, an Airbnb management and consulting company that helps homeowners turn their properties into passive income streams through short-term rentals. Do you want to turn your vacation house into a passive income stream? Then look no further. The 5-Star Co-Host has served over 1,000 guests in several Airbnb properties and in varying markets. The STR Co-Host, or the 5-Star Co-Host, is at the vanguard of the short-term rental industry by leveraging technology and systems to maximize the guest experience while achieving high revenue for owners. Get a free home analysis by emailing the 5-Star Co-Host at gmail.com. That's the 5-Star Co-Host at gmail.com. THEFIVESTARCOHOST at gmail.com.